Hi, I'm Melissa, and this is The Book Break. Today we are going to be talking to Lisa Mangum, who is first the managing editor of Shadow Mountain Publishing and also a prolific author herself. Let's go talk to her. Thank you so much for being here with me today, Lisa.
Thank you for having me.
So one thing that I think is super awesome about you is not only are you an author, but you are the managing editor at Shadow Mountain Publishing.
Correct.
Okay, listen up for you wannabe authors out there. Tell me, what do you publish? What are you looking for?
Sure. So at Shadow Mountain Publishing, I've been managing editor there since 2014, and we publish fiction and nonfiction for adults and children. We're really strong in middle grade, contemporary and fantasy, and romance. Our proper romance line has been really stellar. We've got some great authors to tell those beautiful love stories with the kiss at the end. They're some of my favorite ones to work on. Right now, we are looking for YA, contemporary and fantasy, and I'm always obviously in the mood for a great romance. And I'm also actually looking for some just general fiction for adults, either historical or contemporary. We really want to kind of keep that in the marketplace and tell those kinds of stories, which are my favorite ones to edit.
That is so interesting. So it's funny because when I think of YA and middle grade, I don't think a lot about romance.
Yeah, well, we don't do a lot of YA romance yet, and obviously romance in middle grade is usually more of the level of like, we're just having a crush because we're 12.
Right, like here's a note, check yes or no if you like me.
But just in terms of our audience, we have a really strong audience who gravitate to our books for the middle grade because the kids like the adventure and the parents know that it's going to be safe, and the romance readers also gravitate to our books because again, they've got that great relationship and the chemistry, but they also the readers know that it's going to be safe to read, clean content, it's going to be sweet and wholesome, but still with that relationship and that chemistry that the characters have.
So for those that are interested, how do they approach Shadow Mountain? Do they need an agent? What's their process?
Sure. You do not have to have an agent to submit to Shadow Mountain, which is very nice. It's okay if you have one. We work with agents all the time. But if you just go to shadowmountain.com, there's a link to submit your manuscript to us. It's very easy. You fill out your contact information, you attach a PDF or a Word document of your manuscript. It goes into me, comes to me directly, and I go through and read the query letter and the first few pages and decide if this is something that looks good, if the writing is strong, if it fits what we need, and then we go from there, take it to our editorial team and see if maybe it's something we can make work.
Awesome. So for those that aren't familiar with working with publishers, one thing that I'd love to hear you tell about is you get a lot of submissions.
We do. I just yesterday checked. I have almost 350 submissions right now in our slush pile that I'm trying to go through.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to go through, but that's pretty normal for publishing. In fact, it might even be on the light side in terms of actual how many submissions I have to go through.
Awesome. So can you give us maybe just a quick do this, don't do this when you're submitting a manuscript?
So one of the things that catches my eye on manuscripts that really sort of elevates it to the top that I like to see from people are query letters that tell me who the main character is, obviously, what the conflict is that they're facing, and what the consequences are of the choices that they're going to be making. And that really helps me get my hands around the story, why it's important for me to go on this journey, what's in it for me, why this particular story is unique and stands out above the rest. Some of the things that kind of I've seen before are first pages where the character wakes up from a dream, or this was a day that was unlike any other day, and there's sort of that lack of emphasis or really getting into the story. I want manuscript pages that have a really great voice, that get me right into the action, that get me right into the setting, so that I feel immersed right from the beginning.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Now, speaking of being immersed, I know that you are an amazing author yourself.
Thank you. I am.
You are, and you write teen fiction.
I do.
And we want to talk a little bit about your books now, because you are an award-winning author.
Yes, I've written the Hourglass Door trilogy, and the Hourglass Door, the Golden Spiral, and the Forgotten Locket, all three of which have won national recognition, either Book of the Year or Benjamin Franklin Award, a Whitney Award, things like that, for that age group and for that market. So the Hourglass Door is a time travel mystery. It's a romance with a mystery that dates back to Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, wow.
And so there's a lot of adventure and suspense and intrigue, but a kiss at the end, and it was so much fun to write. And the story just evolved and grew into this trilogy that I'm really, really proud of. I've also written a contemporary standalone called After Hello, and I've written some short fiction, romance mostly, and then I just recently wrote a nonfiction book as well, which is a little different for me, but also a lot of fun.
So what's your nonfiction book about?
So the nonfiction book is actually about the TV show Supernatural, which is my favorite show.
Yes.
And last year I started this project where I watched every episode and pulled a writing tip from that episode to share with my friends and other writers about character development and thematic development and how to write a redemption arc and things like that. And it's 1,000 pages long, and it was an amazing adventure to write and to share with my friends about something that I was really passionate about.
How fun. And is that coming out in 2019?
That I self-published, because I recognize not a lot of people want 1,000 pages of what Lisa thinks about a TV show, but I did self-publish it. It's called Saving Stories, Hunting Themes, The Writing Business, and now that the last season is going to be airing next year, I'm going to wrap up, add to it, get all 15 seasons in there.
So it will be published in 2020, or is there a version out right now?
There's a version, an ebook version right now that you can get from me directly. I'm going to wait till I'm done adding season 15, and then I'll probably make it available on Amazon.
So do you have a website they can go to get this?
Usually the best place to catch me is on my Facebook page or on Twitter. I'm just at Lisa Mangum on Twitter, and I'm really easy to get a hold of through either method, and I'd love to hear from people who want to talk Supernatural or books or new projects or story ideas. I'm all about the story.
And you go to a lot of conferences, a lot of conferences.
I think I'm doing 28 this year, which is kind of a lot.
Yeah.
But I love going to writing conferences, not only because I get to meet new people and find out what new ideas they're working on, but it keeps me plugged into what's going on in the industry. It gives me a chance to share my knowledge, what I know, to network and to hang out with my friends who love to write.
And you, with staying so busy, how do you find time to write? Because you've written, how many books total is it now?
Four novels, and then the nonfiction book, and then some short fiction. And so, yeah, I usually write at night, or on the weekends, or at the dentist's office, or think about a story when I'm waiting in line at the grocery store. So anytime I have a few minutes, I try to get at least a sentence down or a paragraph, because it adds up. Before you know it, you've got a page or 2 pages or half a chapter that then you can work with and flesh out.
Yeah. And where can they find your books? Now, we are at a bookstore right now, so we know it's in bookstores.
Yes. So my books are online, available wherever books are sold, which is always exciting to come into a bookstore and actually see my name and my book on the shelf, next to some greats that I love to read personally.
Yeah, and then they can go physically to a bookstore, and if they are out of your book, because I know I love your stuff, they can order it,
They should be able to order it easily, no problem.
Okay, awesome. So if you had one big tip that you would want to give our viewers, what would it be?
I would say write the story that's in your heart, write the book that's in your heart, because so many writers panic about, is it good enough? Am I writing to a trend? What does the market want? What are my friends doing? What are other people doing? That we forget that what truly matters is the story that you want to tell, the story that is inside your heart. And if you can do that, if you can tap into that passion and let that grow and shine on the page, that's really what's going to catch an editor's eye almost beyond anything else. And that's something you can control, and that is something you can enjoy, because writing should be fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today,
Thank you.
Lisa. And thank you for joining us today on the Book Break. We'll see you next time. We are coming to the end of our season 1, and thanks to you, the Book Break has been a huge success. So at the end of our season 1, on September 7th, we will be broadcasting live from Salt Lake City Fan X Comic Convention. Make sure to join us. I'll be interviewing a surprise New York Times best-selling author. Thanks again, and I hope to see you then.